Hello, this is I, Father Maguire again. Another video. This time I'm going to be talking about my career change. I've always worked in offices pretty much doing all sorts of administration work. My last job was a service estimator where I priced up security equipment to be installed, including groundworks. I really enjoyed that job actually. But because of the driver shortage in the UK and the fact that I do like driving, I've decided to become a lorry driver. So let me put you in the picture. I'm unemployed. I have been since January 2020. And I thought to myself, right, I know it's expensive to pay to go through all the training that's required to be qualified as a lorry driver. It can be around between 12 and 1400 quid, something like that. And I thought, how am I going to do this then? Because I haven't got that sort of money to put in to get myself trained. So I rang a local firm that does truck training. I'll shout them out. They're called Diamond. That are not too far away from where I am. And I asked them the question. I said, are the government funding any people that are unemployed to go through their training to become lorry drivers? And they said, well, actually, on Friday just gone, and I think it was Monday I rang them, something's changed where they are going to put people through their class one if they want to, the class two, class one, because at the time nothing was changing. But you have to contact the National Careers Advisory, National Careers Service. I'll put the phone number in the description for the video down there. So that's what I did. I rang them after ringing the job centre, because that was it. They told me to ring the National Careers Service, who then told me to ring the job centre, and then I had to put something on my journal on the universal credit thing that you put all your job seeking stuff on there. So basically I ended up with the National Careers Service. I spoke to them, very nice lady who said, yeah, we can arrange an interview with you. Are you available tomorrow? And so I'm like, yeah, brilliant. So 10 o'clock the next morning they rang up and I had a maybe 20-minute, half an hour conversation with them. And I wanted to make it short but sweet because I was a bit concerned I wouldn't pass the medical because of certain things. So I didn't cut her off talking, but I said, let's just save some time here. I want to become a lorry driver, but I'm concerned I won't pass my medical because of this problem. I'm not going to go into what it is. So she said, right, well, I'll tell you what then, instead of doing the interview now, let me go and find out if it's going to be a problem, and then I'll come back and we'll do the interview again in about 20 minutes. So she went off the phone, she went and spoke to somebody, she come back and she said, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. So I'm like, bingo, right. So she took my details, did the right thing, and it's funny because I was already studying bookkeeping, AAT, with a place called the Finance and Management Business School, which is basically one of the course providers that the government are in, they're linked to. And I was already doing it with them. And funnily enough, the logistics pathway, as they call it, for the lorry training is with the same school. So very handy, Different people for different courses, obviously. So I finished doing what I was doing on level one of bookkeeping, so I got my qualification for that, and then switched over to the logistics pathway. So what it is, even though some of it seems a little bit convoluted, it's a 12-week course. There's 1 week of personal development training, which basically is they sort of like, it's almost like teaching you to suck eggs. If you know how to write a CV, if you know how to write a job application, then just go through the motions with it. Because I even emailed her and said, what on earth has this got to do with lorry driver training? And she said, well, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it's part of the pathway, you have to do it. So there's 1 week of this personal development, which actually became quite handy because it's focused on career change, which is obviously what I'm doing, and the later bits of it I actually found pretty useful. So the next part is a 3 week training session. The first week is based on maths, which it's all through an online system called Springboard that they use. All the questions are online. You put your answers in there, then your tutor will mark it, and if you get it wrong, they'll put the reason why you got it wrong, and you just change your answer until you get it right, basically. So you do first week is on maths, and also there's this really, I don't see why this is included, but again, just go through the motion because it's frustrating why you need to do English and maths. Some of the maths I get because you're going to have to, you know, calculate load weight or height of vehicles, whether you can get onto this bridge and that. So yeah, some of it's useful. But again, it's a 3 week course, and the English bit, you end up having to do a group discussion where they ask you to go off and find research on. I think one of them that I was doing was social media, and there was two others in the other category, recycling and healthy eating. And I asked, I said, do I need to do all three of these? And she said, yeah. And on the day, you actually only needed to do two. You needed to do the social media discussion and the healthy eating discussion, where you find some facts and figures out, you make notes on stuff, and then you upload your notes to show the tutor that you've done your homework. And then you actually have a discussion where you're going back to forth with other people on your pathway, basically. So you do that in the first week, and then the second and third weeks are English speaking and English writing. And there's quite a lot of questions, but again, I just sat and plodded through it. I actually finished it all at the end of week one because I had time on my hands, and I was not really doing a lot, and I felt, right, let's get it done now so she can mark it, and then I can see if I get any wrong and I can alter it and get them right. So it's done that. So the next stage of this course is a medical. Now, again, I've asked a question to them, do I need to arrange the medical with my doctors, or do you? And she's come back and she said, yeah, we arrange it with your nearest DVSA approved doctor, which is somebody that can actually do a driver's medical. Well, again, because I'm sort of like preparing on things, I've already contacted my doctors and asked who, if anyone there, is able to do it. And they told me, yes, your doctor so-and-so can do it. So I've told them, yeah, my doctor so-and-so can do the driver medical. Just for your information, it's the closest one to me. So they're going to use that information and probably book one with them. So then you get your driver's medical out of the way, which I've watched a YouTube video online of somebody actually going through a medical. Most of it is question answering to the doctor, and then he checks your blood pressure. So as long as you ain't got blood pressure issues, then it looks like it's majority of it is pretty fairly easy to go through, which wouldn't be a problem. Then apparently there's a 2 week training session on customer service, which again, it might be useful because, as a lorry driver, you are going to be in contact with people. Not a huge amount of people, but again, some of it you'll be thinking, what the hell am I doing this for, like I have done. But some of it you'll be thinking, actually, that's quite useful to know that. So, and then you get to do, your theory test, and you go through your practical training. They pay for your theory test, they pay for your medical, they pay for your CPC, both parts that are needed. They pay for your training for your, now, well, I'll come into this in a minute. They'll pay for your training for your lorry, and they pay for your test, right? So the only thing I haven't found out yet, which I might ask about, is the taco card, because I had a look online last night, and taco cards are £32 to get yourself. You can do it online, you just need your driving licence, but I'm sort of holding fire until I've spoken to somebody to see if they pay for the taco card, because if they don't, I might as well send off for it now and save some time, hadn't I? So anyway, what's changing is on November the 15th, Monday coming, the rules are changing. So if you start your training after that date, you can go straight from car to C plus E. C plus E is articulated lorries, the ones with the trailers that the cab moves and the trailer goes the opposite direction. Category C is the rigid, where it's, you know, all one vehicle moving in the same motion like this when you're turning left and right. So before the 15th, say if I started training now, because it's the, what is it, the 12th of November today. So if I started training now, I would only be able to train for the category C, which we call a class 2, the rigid. Excuse me. And you would be trained on that. But if you start your training after the 15th of November, you can go straight for your C plus E, which is the Arctic. Normally you'd have to progress, you'd have to pass your class 2 first, then you'd have to go for your class 1 after. Well, those rules are changing. And from what I've seen on quite a few videos as well, you know, the media said they're making the reversing test easier. Rubbish. It's exactly the same test. The only difference is it's not going to be your examiner that passes you or fails you on the day of doing your truck test that will do your reversing examination. Now, what it is, your training school, say for instance, Bob is training me. On the day when I do my reversing exercise, George over here will be the one that monitors me to do it. So I do exactly the same reversing test that you would normally do with an examiner with your training school. That's the only difference there. There's no, you know, they've not made it easier at all. They've just passed the ability to examine it to your training school rather than, you know, doing it on the day of your practical exam. So from what I've seen, your practical exam, you do the show me, tell me, which is what vehicle checks you would do before, you know, getting in basically. You'd do couple on couple trailers, and then you basically go for a 50-minute drive like you do in a car test where the examiner says, you know, you'll take your second exit off this roundabout and we'll go this way, please, go into the left-hand lane, go across the roundabout and go into the right-hand lane and this sort of business. And that's what I've seen. Somebody else has done a video of a mock test. So from that's what I've seen. So basically that's it. The reason I've decided to go lorry driving, even though I had a good job as a service estimator, the pay was, you know, not great. I had to negotiate a pay rise by being offered another job elsewhere that was paying me £4 more a year. So I went to the company I worked for and said, look, you know, I don't feel I'm getting enough money. I've been offered this amount to go here to do that. And they then offered me more money to stay, which I did for another 6 or 7 months. And then for reasons that I'm not going to, I left anyway. Now, lorry drivers, class 2, they earn about £32,000 a year. So that's like £1,000 more a month than I was getting for being stressed out in an office, trying to calculate quotations for customers and, you know, with all the unnecessariness of it being there for £1,000 less a month. And, you know, class 2, yeah, I don't like the class 2 work, the idea of multi-dropping. I'd probably go skip driving, something like that, to drop skiffs off, pick skips up to get experience, but I wouldn't do multi-drops. I really don't like the idea of, you know, rushing around to try and get to places because I've got 21 drops to do that day or something like that, or even more. So, but class 1's always appealed to me because I used to drive a 7.5-ton lorry. I know it's not the same, folks. I know it's not the same. Many years ago, and I didn't dislike it. I even drove to Glasgow and dropped a load of riot shields off for the GH Summit. So anyway, pay for class 1. I've been monitoring Indeed, CV Library, Read, Total Jobs apps on my phone, on my mobile phone, since I've sort of like wanted to go this way to see what jobs there are out there. Yeah, there's quite a few where they say you need 6 months experience, you need to have held your license for 6 months for insurance purposes, but there's quite a few out there as well that will take on new passes, which is good for me because, you know, I would want to get some experience even as a class 1 somewhere doing like curtain side work of refrigerated maybe not refrigerated, but you know, something like that to get experience. And for people taking on new passions, I've already got my eye on one company in particular that actually offered me the job that I negotiated a higher salary at my previous work for, and now their pay was, I think it was 41,000 a year, something like that. But I know people that are earning over 50 grand a year from class one work because they go tramping. For those that don't know, tramping is nights out basically. You set off to work on a Monday, you pick your truck up with all your gear, your bedding and your food and whatever you need for the week, and you spend 5 nights out. You do 6 shifts a week, you come back for one day, and then you go back to work again, and they're getting like a grand a week. And that's nice. If I can get somewhere near that, I mean, obviously that's pre-tax, so they're probably taking home, I don't know what they'd be doing, 850 quid, something like that. But it depends how much time you put in. You can probably get to the point where you're taking home £1,000 a week. I do know somebody actually who said their mates working for a company who's taking home a grand a week. So, that might be self-employed. That might not be having tax taken out of it, which you'd obviously have to do yourself. But anyway, and that is double, if not more, than what I was earning. And that's one reason why I want to do it. I've not got kids. The only commitment I've got is my dog George. A lot of companies will allow you to take your dogs with you in the cabs. For the ones that don't, when I'm working, I've already got cover where somebody will look after him for the week I'm not there, and I'll just go pick him up when I get back for another day, and then we'll see what the job is the following week. So I've got things to plan. But that's the other reason why, because the work's not difficult. Yeah, you're probably going to get wet sometimes loading stuff up or opening your curtains or closing them or whatever. But to put up with that sort of money for a little bit of getting wet, or having to use the toilet in a service place rather than being stuck on a lay-by when you're tramping for the night and there's no toilet facilities yet, you've got to put up with that. But basically, that's why. I don't want to go on too long about this, because that's basically where I'm at with the training. I'm just waiting for my tutor to finish marking my English work, and then they'll be arranging for a medical for me. But yeah, so just to touch on the finer points again, National Careers Service, if you're unemployed and you fancy it, it might not be suitable for everybody. Tramping probably isn't suitable for everybody because it's nights out. Those with families and stuff, just get a job that's not a 9 to 5, but a day job, that you're home every day. Just get one of those if you really want to do it. But if you want the money, contact the National Careers Service and get them to have an interview with you, and then get put in touch with the Finance and Management Business School, who are running the HGV courses up and down the country. Again, I'll put the number for the National Careers Service in the description here. But yeah, thanks for listening, folks. I do appreciate it. My next video will be probably after the medical, and see what happens in a week or two. But please do comment if you want any further questions and I know the answer, then ask the question below and I'll see if I can answer it for you. Otherwise, please have yourselves a good day, and thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you don't subscribe, please do. I'm trying to get back up to 200. That'd be great, and then beyond. But I am going to be live streaming. That's the other thing I meant to mention. When I get back in the truck, I'll probably do a few vlogs first to get used to it, because I need to spend about £1,000 on gear to be able to live stream without losing connection very often. The unit is quite expensive, and then it's like £200 a month from then on to actually fund it myself. So that's going to be in the future. But anyway, for the time being, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care for now, folks. Father Maguire out.